Butchum? Sorry, I was trying to get it.
I was just wondering, now that you're the host, are you able to see that streaming code?
Yeah, okay. Okay, I think we're good. YouTube is saying we're live, so it's just starting up here. Okay, we're good. Sorry, guys.
Well, let's just give the publicinput.com page a chance to catch up.
Butchum, sorry, I was trying to get it.
Now that you're the host, are you able to see this?
Yeah, okay. I think we're good. We're good. We're on publicinput.com. We're all set. Sorry about the delay, everybody.
Again, thank you all for your patience as we work through that. The publicinput.com page that allows the public to view is buffering. We'll catch up again. Just if you're not actively participating, please mute your phones. You're catching some feedback. I'm going to mute mine in a moment, but I do appreciate everyone's patience. Get through this. Scott, we're ready to proceed if you are.
Okay. I'm ready. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the January 7th, 2021 Venice Transportation Council Planning Meeting. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope everyone had a nice holidays. Safe and healthy, of course. I think we'll start off with the roll call.
Actually, we have a couple things.
Oh, yeah. Now, yeah. So, your housekeeping rules first. Yes, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, can we got some speakers running? We're catching some echo effect. I think somebody's got their speaker catching the publicinput.com. So please mute your lines. Maybe it's just what I was hearing in my ear. Was everybody else hearing the echo effect? Okay. I just want to let people know that we are live streaming now, and the meeting is being recorded. And in accordance with the New York State Open Meetings Law, that allowed us to waive the in-person meetings. We do have to make this available for the public to view. We're using the publicinput.com platform to make that happen. The meeting agenda will include 2 separate opportunities for public to engage the committee. At that time, we will be able to facilitate conversations between the observers and the participants. The publicinput.com page has been widely publicized. I saw at least one person tuned in through that channel. We'll see how things move forward. But again, there's some information here on folks being able to, how they could participate. And as a very conscientious effort, we have created opportunities for folks to participate via toll-free number, via text. They're not dependent on computers and smartphones or anything like that. So move forward. And just to let folks know, you'll notice the agenda looks different based on some feedback and over the past year, our experiences with doing this in a virtual meeting setting. We took a shot at restructuring, so we can focus on the action items early in the meeting and get the informational items later in the meeting, particularly when we have guests, our partners from the different communities that are presenting project scopes of work or project closeouts, rather than forcing them to sit through all the informational aspects. Again, we can knock the action items out. This time around, sort of a a test run for us on a relatively small agenda. Next month will be a little bit more fleshed out with our intention of having our core products, our major products being the annual work program, the capital program, and our long range plan sort of guiding the structure. And then other things that we have to work on occasionally, but don't fall in those categories. Things like the public engagement plan that will be at the next meeting. Things like Title VI, environmental justice. They'll fall into other categories. So right now, you see action item 5A, UPWP. 5B will be our TIP. 5C will be our long range plan. 5D will be other. And we're hoping that this works better for folks. And after we get a meeting or two, we definitely welcome some feedback so that there's opportunity to improve it. Next, Alex. That's just okay. And typically we do at these meetings, we don't do a formal roll call because the agenda, or I'm sorry, quorum is just a function of those present. But what we would like to do is try to capture everybody for the attendance. So we'll just do it that way because we have call-in users that don't show up with a name on them. But trying to think the best way. I guess, Alex, go ahead and just follow down the list and see that we captured every organization at least. You're muted, Alex. Alex, you're on mute.
Oh. Fix one problem, maybe created another.
All right, how about I take over the call then? Do we have anybody from Genesee County? How about from Livingston County?
Jason Wolfanger.
Great. Monroe County Legislature? Ontario County.
Hello, everybody. Bill right here.
Orleans County. I did get an email from John Pepinetti. He had a conflict, would not be able to attend. Seneca County. Wayne County. Kevin Rooney was on before. I think he's muted. Wyoming County.
This is Todd here.
Gates County.
Tim Cutler is here.
Welcome, Tim. Alex, if you can advance the slide, please. All right. Monroe County Executive.
Jim Pond here.
Monroe County Planning Board. Michelle is here.
Michelle Bell here.
All right. Monroe County Supervisors Association. Monroe County at Large.
Scott Leathersich here.
All right. City of Rochester Mayor's Office. Rochester City Council.
Denise is here.
Welcome. City Planning Commission. Rochester at Large.
Eric Frisch is here. I just wanted to also take a moment to welcome Condé Brown to her first GTC Planning Committee meeting. Thanks for doing it.
Empire State Development. New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. NISDOT.
Chris Rave.
The Thruway Authority. Genesee Finger Lakes Regional Planning Council.
Jay Gazelle here. I can also sub for Tim Hens because I'm a Genesee resident.
But you're not designated anymore. RGRTA.
Bill Carpenter and Eric Farr here.
Great, thank you guys. Federal Aviation Administration. Federal Highway Administration. All right, Brandon, we could say Brandon Oliver, who is shadowing our division, calling in from New Orleans and probably feeling a little warmer than us.
Morning.
Federal Transit Administration.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Uzuma.
Okay, hi, Zoma from FTA.
All right. So we've captured. If there's anybody that wasn't captured, if you're able to put into the chat, that would help. If you're a call-in user and you didn't join, speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, let's move on.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Is there any one from the public that would like to address the committee before we have our proceedings today?
This is Jody. I do not see anybody at this time.
Okay, for anyone observing, that you have a second opportunity at the end of the meeting. So we'll check again for any public that wishes to address the committee today.
And just to confirm, we are able to see on publicinput.com there is at least one person watching. They just did not to speak.
Yes, we have comments on there. There's the morning hellos. No formal public questions at this time.
Okay, very good. All right, that brings us to the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the November 12th Planning Committee meeting, November 12th, 2020, that is. If I could have a motion to approve, signified by saying your name.
Jim Pond moves to approve.
Thank you, Jim. And I would need a second also.
Chris for your second.
Okay, thank you. Are there any comments or questions, revisions to those minutes? Hearing none, instead of a vote, we would, I'll just offer if there's consensus to move this on. If anyone objects to the consensus, let us know. Okay, we'll consider the minutes approved. Thank you. Brings us up to the next item of announcements and old business. I think, Jim, you'll lead us through that.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, as Eric first alluded to, Conda Nessa Brown has recently been named as Chief of Staff to the Rochester City Council and has been designated as a planning committee member representing Council President Scott. Welcome, Conda Nessa. Usually we don't have this much technical difficulties to start our meetings, but glad to have you on board. And that's the only announcement I have.
That's it. Any old business?
Yeah.
None? Okay. As Jim mentioned, the agenda's been rearranged a little bit, so we'll start right off with our action items. We have two concerning the UPWP. And the first one is action concerning the draft fiscal year 2021-2022 Unified Planning Work Program for public review.
Jody is going to take the lead.
Jody's going to walk through that? Okay.
Okay. The Unified Planning Work, or UPWP, is the program of federally funded transportation planning activities to be undertaken by GT staff and other in the Jeff Finger Lakes region. The fiscal year 2021-2022 UPWP will support planning activities for the period beginning April 1st, 2021 and ending March 31st, 2022. Projects included in the current UPWP that are not complete as will be rolled over into the fiscal year 2021-2022 UPWP. GTC solicited UPWP proposals on September 11th. A deadline for applications was October 16th. Once again, we emphasize that the UPWP supports planning partnerships between GTC and local communities. GTC staff worked with the UPWP Development Committee, or UDC, consisting of representatives from the member agencies in the metropolitan planning area to prioritize project proposals. This round, we received 21 applications requesting about $1.7 million. We were able to make about $1 million available for projects. Today, GTC staff have 2 modifications to present regarding the draft UPWP. Regarding Table 4 in the appendix, the dollar amount of the federal share, as you can see on your screen, has been adjusted to $2,546,116. This error was due to an incomplete formula in Excel, and all other financial tables remain the same. Next slide, please, Alex. Okay. NISDOT main office noted that the following shared costs initiative should be cited under task number 9300 NISAMPO shared costs initiatives. It's the shared transit service planning and analytics initiative. The objective is to support a set of collaborative pilot applications of common transit mobility planning and analysis tools. The draft UPWP will be updated to reflect these changes ahead of the public review process. So regarding the development of the UPWP, the UDC met in November and December. The efforts of the UDC resulted in a project list for public review and the full draft UPWP document. All UPWP applicants have received an email notifying them of the UDC's decision regarding their application and information on the UPWP public review process. Upon your approval of the public review document and the draft UPWP, a 30-day public review will commence on Monday, January 11th. Any comments received will be shared with you for consideration at the February 11th Planning Committee meeting. The GTC board is expected to adopt the UPWP at its February 25th meeting so that it can be transmitted to NISDOT main office, FHWA, and FTA ahead of the March 1st deadline. And the UPWP will then go into effect on April 1st, 2021. And if you have any questions about or the projects, Jim and I will be happy to answer them. You can go to the next slide, Alex. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jody. Appreciate that. Any questions of Jody? Okay, I would offer, and Jim, unless we need to do separate votes, I would offer that we do the 2 actions in one vote.
Those were just basically edits to the draft. What the action that would be taken is to approve the draft for public review, and it includes the full document and the project list, as Jody alluded to. You can see on the slide that we did note the requested motion would be to approve the UPWP as revised in that conversation.
Bill Carpenter, so moved.
Okay. Have a second? Did we get a second there?
Eric Frisch, second.
Thank you, Eric and Bill. Okay. Is there consensus to move this to 30-day review? Okay. Thank you. Brings us up to the next action of modifying the fiscal year 2020 to 2021 Unified Planning Work Program.
Okay, so this is a small project edit that we have been working on with NISDOT. Chris Reed, I was under the impression, or given the impression that you might want to talk about this. Is that how you want to proceed, or would you like GTC staff to?
No, I can cover it. Yeah, UPWP task 7620, Genesee Finger Lakes Regional Performance Measurement Monitoring and Evaluation System. This is a two-phase project. This is phase 2 that we're considering here for adding money. Just a brief introduction. The purpose of this project is to develop a new performance measurement database for the RTOC, the Traffic Operations Center that's shared by DOT and Monroe County. This database will consolidate different operations data sources and provide the RTOC staff with a tool to collect and extract operations data for performance management. As Jim said, GTC and State DOT Region 4 have worked on managing this deficit and are proposing to transfer $13,000 from program reserve, which is task 1600, to this project. This will increase the budget for phase 2 of this project from $62,000 to $75,000. Just a quick summary of the purpose of this phase 2 of the project is that phase 1 was already completed. That report identified the technical requirements and functionality of the database that's going to be developed as part of phase 2. The original phase 2, like I said, was $62,000. That was an estimation, but until phase 1 was complete, the exact amount wasn't known. Now that phase 1 is complete, we do know that the budget will be $75,000. The RTOC staff has conducted a background research on database development to better understand what can be accomplished at different budget levels. This was deemed appropriate. This budget increase will enable the database to include a collection of operations data from different sources and extract performance measures to guide day-to-day operations as well as long-term ITS investment decisions. It'll allow improved communication with stakeholders. As you know, this facility has a lot of stakeholders, Monroe County, the state police, emergency services, and also have a mapping function that integrates with traffic signal status and mobile work crews. And finally, the ability to integrate with future mobile platform applications. Any other questions on this proposal?
Chris, this is Jim Stack. I just wanted to add, just to refresh everybody's memory, we took a deliberate two-phase approach on this project because it was entirely new what we were entering into and trying to figure out automating these reporting and dashboard type tools. If you recall, we had set up a phase 1 to look at the needs and functionality, and phase 2 was an implementation with a defined break with a go, no go decision. When we solicited the original project team, we looked for a team that could perform the analysis needed for phase 1 and come away with a recommendation, and part of the team that could do the implementation. Phase 1 did come out with a recommendation for a particular platform that was dependent on the state of Texas and the state of Florida continued to maintain the backbone of that. That wasn't really deemed acceptable to the partners in the region, and certainly to NISDOT from a legal perspective to enter into an agreement based on other states' agreements to continue to fund things. So the decision was made at that time to not go forward with the initial recommendation. And quite honestly, had we stuck with the original team and the original proposal, $62,000 probably would have been enough to get this done. But we will have to issue a new RFP and get a new team on board that will be focused just on the implementation. The $75,000 budget was just for.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Jay Gazelle.
All right, thank you, Jay. Second?
Jim Pond, seconding.
All right, thank you, Jim. All right, is there consensus to approve this action?
Yes, sir.
Hearing no objections, we'll consider it passed. Thank you very much. Move on to our reports for today. Brings us to the status of UPWP projects.
All right, this is what we used to do early in the meeting. Now we've pushed out to later in the meeting. You'll see up on the screen what was reported at the last meeting, just as a point of reference. Information we're looking to update. With regard to strategic planning, no new activity. We're just kind of going along with what we need to do on a day-to-day basis. The long-range transportation plan will have a specific discussion under item C in a few minutes. The Finger Lake scenario tool, our staff has provided access and technical support for the initial pilot project. Our trend scenarios were allocated. The trend scenario allocations were developed, and we intend to. I think I wrote this down wrong. Alex, I've got here that the next steering committee for early December, I think that's supposed to be January.
Yeah, we're going to have some
training. Or did it happen?
We're going to have some training later on this month again.
And what about the steering committee?
The same group. So we're going to meet and have some training.
Okay. Apologize for that confusion. The I-490 integrated corridor management plan. The first. You know what? I apologize. Okay, open the wrong report. I'm looking at information that seems dated or it didn't get updated properly. Joe, can you give an update on where we stand with the contract for the integrated corridor management? Didn't have Joe on here, right?
Joe was having trouble connecting. I'm not sure if he's called in. I don't think he's on the WebEx per se.
All right, bear with me one moment. I think just ahead of this meeting, I opened the file. Break file open. The vulnerable user safety assessment. I know I can move on to that. The reporting is reports are wrapping up. Final edits, comments. We do expect a closeout at the February planning committee meeting. The congestion management process is just integrated within our full day-to-day activity for the long-range plan. And moving forward. All right. Bear with me while I could skip over the Lake Ontario State Parkway project. We had some delays. Staff person in Orleans County was out on an extended medical. They are back. We, as a staff, have been working with them, the consultant, flurry of activity this week, trying to schedule a steering committee meeting that can, so the steering committee can get together and look at the final reports. And before going out to the public, we will be presenting the draft documents probably by the end of next week, maybe by the middle of the week, to that committee, and hope to meet within the next couple of weeks, and then before the end of the month, and then have a public meeting in the month of February. All right. The transportation impacts on economic development in Greater Rochester Airport. You may recall at the last meeting, we did formally cancel this project. We are just carrying it on the report through the end of the fiscal year. It'll still be there in February, but the funding was reallocated to be utilized for projects under the new PWP just was review. Okay. Definitely a problem. My reports here. So all the work I did yesterday seems to have been lost. I apologize. We'll get some subsequent updates out. The cross-asset highway and bridge evaluation. Alex, can you give an update on that?
Sure. We've been providing some data and looking at the technical feasibility with and trying to get a pilot project going with Decision Lens, provider that main office had used in a limited capacity. So hopefully that's something we'll be able to present and work with the TDC on this year.
All right. And then the Greater Rochester Transportation Management Association feasibility plan, that has been postponed, as we previously mentioned. COVID really disrupted travel patterns, and it delayed the launch of Reimagine RTS. So our expectation is after Reimagine RTS has the ability to launch and travel patterns have sort of settled in post-COVID, get broader vaccinations out about, we will revisit that project. We have it tentatively on our calendar to basically have an RFP in about 12 months. We think come January of 2022, things will be settled enough that we can move that forward again. But we did hold the funding in place for that project.
Hey, Jim, I have an update from Joe regarding 55902, the I-490 Integrated Corridor Management Plan, if you want me to.
Yes, please.
Sure. So Joe said that the steering committee met on December 17th to discuss the inventory and needs assessment. And currently the committee is reviewing the inventory and needs assessment. Comments are due back on January 15th. And the consultants will begin working on the drafts alternative once the needs assessment has been completed. That's all I have.
Great. And then I think the only other, Alex, can you go back? There was one other project we skipped over after. Can you go back one more? Travel time data collection. I think there's no new activity there. To go back one more. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jody.
I actually are working on a new our contract spring.
Jody's voice was cutting in and out, but basically what we've got going on, we are doing our regular travel time data, but we're also, staff has begun work to develop a new RFQ process so that we could release that this fall and have a new vendor under contract. We have our contract was extended. I'm sorry,
well,
not this fall. Very soon.
Yeah.
Come May, we have to have a new vendor in place for a multi-year contract. Okay. I think that covers the GTC activities. Apologize for the confusion again. Something went wrong with all the work I did to update my notes. Correct. I wonder if my computer performance has been terrible last 24 hours. With that, I'll open any questions you might have about GTC.
All right. Any questions of Jim and his presentation there? All right, seeing none, let's move on to Genesee Finger Lakes Regional Planning Council.
We still have Jay, or we lose him? I think we lost Jay, but I can say the regional land use monitoring project, that is a calendar-based type project. So the 2019 activity, after some delays, was closed out, was presented to you in November and closed out
Sorry about that. I was answering the phone, Jim.
That's okay. So I was just letting you know
multitasking here.
the land use monitoring 2020 activity will be kicking off fairly soon.
Yeah, well, I'm finally getting fully staffed again. We're bringing 3 new people in the next 30 days. One of whom this is going to be one of their activity areas, obviously, as well as what Emily's been doing also. But it's a matter of coordinating the new people with the 2 legacy people, Jason and Emily, so that we spread the workload out and continue to satisfy our obligations, particularly to our neighbors here up on the 8th floor.
All right. Jay, can you provide an update on the complete streets? Is there anything?
That's one that I know Haley Ferringer, who's now an independent consultant as of last month, had not spent a lot of time, and she gave us an outline, which I can get over to you guys, of the things, I guess what I will call, the task mindset that she had, but that's about where we are at the present time.
Okay, I think that was for the fleet electrification. Right? In the complete streets guidebook, I know Joe Paventi and Emily Royce have been working together. There was a previous effort to.
Yeah, I can barely hear you, Joe.
Down in Penn Yan, and we're trying to find a second community. And
yes.
Joe Paventi has been working with Mount Morris to see if they have an interest. Kind of following up on the Route 36 study that we're working with them, but in the village area, if they want to be a test case or a pilot case for the complete streets guidebook. Waiting to get confirmation from Mount Morris. And
right.
Then, again, as GFL staffs up, it will. We'll get that project moving again. Moving on to Livingston County, I don't imagine Jason is well versed on these projects, so we can jump in as GTC staff. Livingston County wayfinding project has been progressing. So the sign design is almost complete with the streetscape recommendations, and then also looking at identifying specific locations. There is a plan to have a steering committee later this month on the 28th or 29th, and trying to do a public meeting to wrap up the project in mid-February. So that is progressing well. The Livingston County Mobility Management Strategy is much earlier in the process. The first project steering committee meeting was held earlier this week on the 5th. It was Tuesday, and that was just intended to sort of be a coordination meeting with all the different stakeholders, with the consultant, to understand the roles and responsibilities of each, and the intention of the project, and then to review a public participation plan. That study is really, it's more of a technical study, so it's not the traditional, hey, let's pull a plan together with recommendations that's going to affect the public. It's more for internal use. So the public participation is a little bit different. Probably will be more like focus groups and stakeholder interviews than public meetings. Monroe County.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah. Rochelle, want to kick off on the land use monitoring?
There we go. At the end of January, when we have all our data in through the end of 2020, we will begin the 2020 report preparation process. That's it.
Okay. Jim?
Yes, so first the high extent location project or program. We did not do a completion of any additional locations since the November meeting. We have had some progress with studies, but they're not complete yet. So therefore, we're still at a total of 13 of 28 locations for 2020 to 2021 cycle, about halfway. For the Monroe County Traffic Signal Sign Assessment, Asset Management Program, the data collection process has continued. The weather has been very cooperative in that manner. Normally, you would have trouble finding assets on the ground. So I expect they'll be making some good progress with that. And they'll continue that through the spring.
Thanks, Jim and Rochelle. Brings us up to New York State DOT.
All right, thank you, Scott. Joel and I are going to work together on these. Joel will cover the first one and the third one, and I'll take care of 7951 now, which is the O'Rourke Bridge Operations and Maintenance Analysis Strategy. Last reported draft technical memo for needs assessment was provided on October 29th, as you can see in the comments. Comments were provided to the consultant, and the steering committee meeting was held on December 1st to review the limited comments on that memo. We're expecting the next technical memo, number 3, which is the maintenance costs and recommended capital programming actions for the future on January 11th. Joel?
Okay, everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Task number 6232, the safety investigations and analysis, is nearing completion. At last meeting, you saw the final report and executive summary were provided to the steering committee. That group has reviewed and provided comment back. So those are now being incorporated. The comments are now being incorporated into the final report, and we expect the report to be finalized in the early spring. Task number 7952 is kicking off nicely. We have a contract executed with Bergman Associates, and so we are beginning to do the initial stages of data collection and are also forming a steering committee, which will be made up of, we intend or hoping for the participation of the City of Rochester and the primarily east side suburbs, so the surrounding communities. We do expect to really kick off the project within about a month or so. So that's it for 7952.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Any questions of Chris and Joel? No? Okay. That brings us up to Ontario County.
Yeah, I think, Jim, you have these, right? Because I don't know that much about them right now.
Yeah. So the Route 332 and Route 96 sub-area study Ontario County Planning Department on that. The steering committee meeting was held November 17th. And I think we previously recorded a coordination meeting. Excuse me. Basically, the committees are moving forward with the recommendations and reporting. Jody, do you have any sense on when the next steering committee or public meeting is anticipated?
No, we actually just emailed the consultant yesterday for an update. I'm expecting the holidays delayed everything a little bit, but I would think by February we'd get back to it. I know that they're still moving along pretty well. So.
All right, and then the Honeyway Hamlet, again, we were working with the planning department on that. That just helped my numericals. All right, so we did have a third round of public meeting at the request of the local community. That was held from December 8th through December 23rd. The consultant is working through the comments now. We did use the publicinput.com platform, so our staff was able to compile a report from that and provide the comments pretty close to having a report wrapped up. I am hopeful that we will present it for closeout next month. Our status internally says likely. So.
Okay, thanks, Jim and Jody. Any questions of Ontario projects? Okay, brings us to the City of Rochester. Eric.
All right, for the West Main Street project, we did hold a kickoff meeting with the steering committee in November, and a second steering committee meeting was held in December. That meeting, they discussed how to best consult with the community given the current conditions, as well as to discuss the project goals. The website's being kept up to date. The first survey is actually live at the moment. And about just over 1,200 postcards were sent to addresses within the corridor directly to inform them of the project and give them the contact information and the website. So the next milestone for the project is anticipated in March. The existing conditions and needs assessment report will be delivered.
Okay, thanks, Eric. Any questions of Eric? All right, brings us up to RGRTA.
This is Eric. So we are currently working towards a spring launch date. Firm date hasn't been established yet. We're kind of waiting to see what other factors like the whole COVID-19 situation resolves itself before we come up with a firm date, but we are working towards getting that going this spring.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. All right, moving on to Wayne County.
Good morning, everyone. The high accident location study, I received a draft, I guess it's a specific intersection analysis from the consultant. They intend to do about a dozen of those. They've done a good job. It was very detailed, good existing conditions, proposed maybe mitigation improvement type measures. So we're pretty happy with that. I gave them some direction, and they're going to keep working on them. Again, they're probably going to have funding to do about a dozen of those, most important intersections for us. So moving along.
All right,
the Ontario Midland Strategic Plan staff, GTC staff, economic development. We contract extension to try to provide some more time. Jody, is there anything you can provide?
Yeah, so they were just going through and updating the business opportunity analysis for that. The next steering committee meeting being in February. And Jim, your audio is pretty bad too. I think people are having a hard time hearing you.
Sorry about that, and my camera just
getting a message saying your bandwidth. Yeah.
I'm kind of dead in the water right now. If somebody else could take over.
Well, we can hear you fine right now. We just can't see you.
Yeah, I'm getting a message about my camera can't connect, and my mouse is gone. I can't get rid of the OK and mute and stop video or anything.
All right. We're up to other agencies if you can carry the ball there or not.
Yeah, so the Route 390 multi-use trail, I'm actually kind of dead in the water. Alex, are you able to pull up the internal PSR? Just
yeah,
grab the reports from that. That's what I've been using.
Sure, just give me one.
But I can't navigate anywhere right now. My mouse is gone.
Jim, this is Chris. I can update that project. The consultant has provided recommendations on the trail to the steering committee. So we're just sort of at that point of reviewing those. but moving along nicely.
Thanks, Chris. And there's the Village of Avon Circulation, Accessibility, and Parking Study.
Yeah,
Alex, you want me to update this one?
thanks, Bob.
Yep.
Okay.
So we are in final report review. We are holding a meeting next Friday with our project committee to look at the revisions. We've received a draft report already. We'll look at revisions and allow the committee to make final comments. We hope to close out next month.
All right, great. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate that. And on the Parkway Pedestrian and Bicycle Active Transportation Plan.
Yeah, I'll take that one too. So what's going on there is next week we have actually this week we have a project committee meeting, and next week we have a public meeting coming up. We are not to draft report yet. We're between project recommendations and a draft report. This is the public vetting of first public vetting of the recommendations.
All right, thank you. I jumped ahead a little bit there. Village of Waterloo Circulation, Accessibility, and Parking Study.
Chris, can you give an update on that?
Yep. So the project kickoff meeting, steering committee kickoff meeting was held before Christmas. So held that, and then we had the holidays. So a bit of a lull there, but that should be picking up again soon.
Thanks, Chris. Village of Perry, Transportation Safety and Access Study.
Sure, I'm leading that project. The village, we met with our consultant team in NISDOT yesterday. We're just getting the ball rolling on our existing conditions and coordination.
Okay. Thanks, Alex. It brings us to the Mount Morris, Leicester, Route 36 Corridor Study.
Is Joe on board that if he can give an update, or Alex grabbing it from TSR?
I don't think Joe's been able to get his audio to work, Jim.
Okay. Alex, can you grab that from TSR then?
Sure. There's been additional coordination with Mayor Provo, and the next steering committee is anticipated in February. So getting towards reviewing draft alternatives and recommendations.
All right, thank you, Alex. The Bay Industrial Park Traffic Optimization Study.
Sure. So we had 10 proposals come in. The proposals were due on November 13th. We had a little confusion during the consultant evaluation process, but we do have all the scores in. So right now I'm trying to coordinate with the town and NISDOT to schedule a consultant evaluation committee meeting so we can start that process and get a consultant on board.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jody. And Canandaigua Waterfront Active Transportation Plan.
This is Bob again. That project is in the early stages. We have kicked off. We have scheduled a second committee meeting, but at this point, all we've done is go over the public participation plan, and the consultant is working on existing conditions.
Okay, thank you, Bob. And that rounds up with Middle Cheshire Road and Healthcare Services Corridor Active Transportation Plan.
So like Avon, we have received the draft final report. That's in review now with that project committee. We expect comments within a week or two, and we also anticipate closing that out next month.
All right, thank you, Bob.
And one thing you'll notice that we did a little bit different this time, we've taken all the completed projects and stuck them at the end of the list, so we don't have to tell you when it was adopted. We're hoping not to change that. We'll find as a positive one. And I think what we just experienced demonstrates the value of having a good team. I appreciate everybody pitching in. My computer is still frozen. I have audio, but that's about it. Lesson learned, I will print out my report next time and have it like we did at the in-person meeting.
Something to be said for the good old-fashioned paper method, I guess, sometimes, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, any questions on any of the projects that anyone heard as part of the updates here? All right, then moving on to TIP staff modifications.
Sure. Thank you. Since the last planning committee meeting, there were 3 modifications to the TIP. These are really just financial in nature. There's non-federal funding added to 2 projects, one with the city, one with the Village of Lima, and one project actually reduced phase costs. So thanks to Monroe County for the highway lighting rehabilitation project. That's all.
All right, thank you, Alex. All right. Brings us up to the status of the long-range transportation plan for the Genesee Finger Lakes Region 2045.
I'm going to throw it to Jody here.
Okay, get myself unmuted. Okay, so the transportation system needs were developed collaboratively amongst GTC staff using feedback from the first round of public involvement, recommendations and feedback from various UPWP studies that we've done over the past few years, discussions with member agencies, results from our socioeconomic and demographic data analysis that we undertook for the long-range plan, and the federal transportation legislation, and particularly the 10 planning factors. So staff have finalized the transportation system needs as follows: ensuring equity throughout the transportation system, increasing safety for all users, maintaining the existing system in a state of good repair, ensuring access to all for employment, goods, and services, addressing mobility needs with an aging population. And next slide, please, Alex. Expanding mobility and connectivity for active transportation users, reducing energy usage and greenhouse gas emissions, improving coordination of transportation services, enhancing connectivity and access for freight movement, increasing system resiliency, and supporting leisure travel and tourism. And building off the transportation system needs, staff have started to develop the draft recommendations. We drafted an updated structure of how we plan to present the recommendations, which still needs to go through an internal review process. We expect to present more details on this in February. The second round of public engagement regarding the draft recommendations will take place in late February. We plan on starting this week break, and this round of public engagement will be conducted virtually through our publicinput.com platform. And the next steps include drafting the financial plan and pulling together the performance measures report. And if anyone has any questions on the long-range plan, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Jody? All right, thank you, Jody. Nice update. That brings us to the next item on the agenda, the federal legislative and funding update.
Okay.
Tim can help us with that.
Yeah, I can work on that. I got some functionality back. So Congress and the administration have come to an agreement on all the federal fiscal year 2021 appropriations bills, and the president signed them into law on December 27th. These appropriations fully fund the federal government operations through September 30th of this year. And of note, the appropriations include $1 billion in BUILD program grants. This was previously called Tiger, now it's BUILD. There's also $2 billion coming from the general fund to support highway programs. Of that, $1.08 billion is set aside specifically for bridge replacement and rehabilitations, and this will be distributed based on the percent of deck area in poor condition. With each state will receive a minimum of six million and a maximum of 60 million to address deck condition, to address bridges, but at least allocated on the basis of deck condition. We are waiting to get values for allocations to New York State and then subsequent to our region. The transportation appropriation also includes $506 million from general funds that would the general fund that would support transit programs. In addition to the omnibus appropriations that covered the 12 appropriation bills, Congress included a coronavirus relief supplemental, and that was signed into law as part of one big legislation. On the coronavirus relief of note for transportation, the supplement includes $10 billion for states. These will be distributed in the utilizing the surface transportation block group formula distribution. The only difference is rather than being capped at 80% federal, these will be 100% federal funds. Nearly 15% of the overall program will be sub-allocated to MPO areas that have 200,000 people or more. GTC in Rochester area is one of those. We're waiting for the numbers to be crunched to get specific dollar amounts. Again, how much is coming to New York State and then how much is coming to our region. And then any guidance that comes into play as to what kinds of projects can be funded for that, what kind of timelines we deal with. So information would be forthcoming, and as we normally do, we'll kick off the conversations at the TIP Development Committee level to figure out what kind of recommendations they have as far as moving forward, and we'll go from there. The coronavirus relief supplement also includes $14 billion for transit operations across the country, and that is funding that will be apportioned to transit agencies according to existing formulas. Again, with the exception of rather than 80% federal, these will be 100% federal funds. So RGRTA is a direct recipient of FTA Section 5307 urban area funds. Will get a specific allocation of funding to be used for coronavirus relief. That's my legislative update.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Any questions of Jim on any of that? All right, thank you. Moving on to other DTC matters.
So I don't have anything else unless somebody has some questions for GTC.
Any items from anyone regarding GTC? All right. Next item on the agenda, public engagement highlights.
Yeah, this is something new that we've added to the agenda. Over the past year, we've really ramped up our public engagement efforts, and it was something we were planning to do and working towards. We've mentioned the publicinput.com platform an awful lot. That was something that was in the works and already essentially a contract had been awarded to kick off our subscription to that service April 1st of 2020. But COVID really accelerated our learning curve. Publicinput.com folks were great to work with. They started our onboarding a couple weeks early in light of the COVID. We've had great support from them, and we have really taken to heart the use of this tool to try to use it beyond just GTC staff activities, but also to include it to help support our planning studies with our partners. And I don't know, it seems in some of the forums we've had, what Lori has been able to do, and then contributions from other staff members, the variety of projects we're using this on, and the extent that we're using the publicinput.com platform might be, we might be at the top of the range of MPOs across the country. So, but with that, I want to give Lori an opportunity to give some highlights of what we've got what has happened with public engagement.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Can you hear me okay? I'm calling in via my cell phone.
Yes,
Oh,
thank you.
audio. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So just to build on that, briefly, I know we're kind of nearing the end of the meeting time here, but just really want to let folks know that, despite COVID and all the physical distancing, requirements and things like that, we still have a lot of work to do in staff for our GTC work, but also supporting all of the UPWP funded projects with our partner agencies. So I really just kind of let everyone know that we've been managing all those things. We had about 12 projects in the past year that did, some sort of outreach, most of it virtual. 8 online meetings were held, and all of those are, you can find those on our public input page, which is right on our GTC homepage too. So if you go to gtcmpo.org/public input, you can always find a list of projects that are going on. Just a couple big stats overall. We had about 830 comments that have come in on all those meetings, and more than 400 people have participated. Would we've gotten those same numbers if we did it traditionally? We all know probably not, but it's good metrics to have now. We've also been boosting, Twitter and Facebook, and every time we have a meeting or some sort of outreach, we try to share it on those 2 social platforms. We're already up to 652 followers on Twitter and 54,000 impressions. So that means 54,000 times in the past, I forgot what the past year, somebody saw something about transportation planning and things like that. So being that this is not always the sexiest of topics, transportation planning, but I think more people are starting to appreciate it and learn about it and figure out how they can participate. So next slide. For GTC work, the 3 or 4 really main things we've been doing are our core work products. As Judy talked about, the long range transportation plan, all of that was virtual, this year, and we still had over 200 comments. We also put out the public engagement plan and did that via digital access electronically, and we got a lot of participation on that. And as Jim said, our board and planning committee meetings. So those of you that have been with us for a while, we don't usually have a ton of people that attend these in person, but we have had several people join us either anonymously or participating. So I think those are all good things and good improvements and more to come. Just briefly on a little bit about our partner work. I mentioned, we had 8 meetings. Those included OMID, Avon, Honeywell Hamlet, Gananda, Mount Morris. Overall 230 people. I don't know if we would have had 230 people in cafeterias and things how we've traditionally met. I do want to point out Mount Morris and Leicester, Route 36. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me right now, but we had a crazy amount of participation on that, and that's a project that I wouldn't have necessarily expected. So those are all great things to report. And next slide, Alex. And then as far as upcoming things, we're going to be Jody talked about the UPWP public review. That's going to be going up on Monday, and then of course we'll be doing the long range plan. And then the federal certification review, there is a public participation component to that. And then just a shameless plug for next Wednesday at 4:30. If you're not busy, you can hop on and join us and learn more about the proposed solutions for the Gananda Parkway plan. So I'm working with the consultant and Wayne County on that project right now. And then we know right now we've got West Main Street. They have a survey that Eric mentioned. Mount Morris has something in the spring. We're going to be hearing more about the Livingston Wayfinding Master Plan, and then of course many more things throughout throughout the year. But overall, no project has stalled or stopped because we couldn't do in-person engagement. We did do a few things. Joe and Haley, they were out at the Penny Ann Farmers Market. So, they did do a little bit of, social distancing engagement. We did have a couple other projects that did walking tours and everything. So, overall, engagement has been plugging on, and just wanted to kind of give you that update. So I think at every meeting, we're going to have a very short update to let you know what we've done and also what's coming. So I guess that would be my call to action to everyone on this committee to, please let me know work that you have, any public outreach opportunities, whether it's UPWP funded or whether it's federally funded, just so that we can try to have a one-stop shop for all things transportation planning, and we'll try to promote it and cross promote, for each other. So, does anyone have any questions about the engagement work?
Any questions of Lori? All right, very nice, Lori. Thank you for that. That was a lot of good information. It's good to know that we can keep trying to engage the public despite all the nonsense that's going on around us. So good, thank you.
Absolutely.
This is Jim, and one thing I want to say, Lori alluded to a little bit, we've got the numbers there. We've never really measured it to this extent. We can all say anecdotally, I think with confidence, that we've gotten more participation from greater numbers of people than would have been exposed in a traditional way. Now that we have these platforms and we can measure things, we'll be able to tell as time goes on, are we getting more effective? Are we staying the same? Things we can do different, things we can do. But it is, as Lori said, is our intention to kind of highlight some public engagement at least quarterly, if not at every meeting. And again, opportunities to cross promote, whether GTC is funding the project or not. If it has, if we have any way to help spread the word on your behalf, that's something we want to help with.
That's good information. It's good to know, Jim. So thanks. Hopefully, all member agencies will be able to take advantage of that service. So thank you. All right.
So now this is something new on the agenda, which people may or may not have noticed. Just like we give our updates, we want to have a standalone or a designated spot that member agencies and partners can provide any updates. I honestly don't expect that anybody has anything to add today, but certainly if you do, we're open to it. But again, a little tweak to the agenda to see if we can make this forum informative and useful to folks beyond what was already going. And hopefully folks like having this. If not, if we're not getting updates, we'll drop it.
Well, we'll find out over time. Are there any agencies that have anything to offer? Any updates of any kind?
Well, Jim, let me go against your just little treatise there for a minute. Finger Lakes is actually going to do a major overhaul of our website, so we can actually put information that's relevant and current up on it for our agency and our collaboration with you folks. And like I said before, we're also staffing up both to go with the programs we already have, particularly with our federal EDA kind of funding, but also a new grant we just got also, again, with more to the CEC, the Community Electrification and Clean Energy Initiative that we're engaged in, which is a big part of our activity centers also. But the big thing for us is that we'll be fully staffed up by the beginning of February. And hopefully that means we can also get more engaged even in things that are being done by GTC, as far as both the staff, but then the relevance of some of our projects and your projects and the continued linkage, in addition to the funding that you're providing for us, in our 2021 budget. So I have to both thank you, but also let you folks know that we're going to get back up to full strength ASAP.
Great. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. Appreciate that update. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing no other member agency updates today, moves on to new business. Is there any new business to come before the committee today?
Yeah, I don't have anything from GTC, and nothing's been brought to our attention. So.
Okay. Then that brings us to the end of the agenda and the public forum. Is there anyone, I'll look to Jillian and Lori, is there anyone from the public that has any comments or questions based on the proceedings of today's meeting?
Not at this time, Scott.
Okay. I would assume that they would have weighed in by now if they had any comments or questions. So with that, our next meeting is February 11th. Right now planned to be online. And any agenda items for that meeting should be into GTC no later than January 29th. And if there's no other comments or questions for today, I'll entertain adjournment.
So moved, Scott.
I'm sorry, Scott, we should have point out, we did distribute a calendar for 2021. We're just refreshing here and slide up on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just for everybody's knowledge, you know, we're taking a chance knowing that it's going to take a while for vaccinations to get out in the community, and our original location for April 8th had a conflict come up, so we've taken upon ourselves as a staff decision to say the February and April meetings will be online. We're hoping come May that we'll be able to be face-to-face again. In person, but just keep in mind that all the in-person meetings, they're tentatively in person, and if we have to continue with virtual meetings, we will inform people in a timely manner.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Jim. Sorry, didn't mean to jump the agenda there for you.
Oh, that's okay. The agenda itself didn't show the slides.
So. All right. So unless there's no other comments or questions, I'd like to thank everyone for your attendance today. I apologize for the technical issues to begin with, but GTC staff got them resolved and got us going. So good work as usual. So thank you all again. Happy New Year to everybody, and hope for better days ahead here.
Yep, and if you second on that motion to adjourn, you can put me down, Scott.
Okay.
Thanks.
So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Sign off.
Happy New Year. Everyone be well, be safe.
Very good. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Care.
Bye, all.
Careful.